our first question mode. To get back to my soca in a little bit, in a little while. Just killing some time until my guest gets here. He's giving me a little extra of his time today because I had some time I needed to fill. And hey, Bugs, I got some time I need to fill. Today on First Question, spread the word, pass the word, you're locked into 88.3. In the first question, of course, we've been giving our candidates an opportunity to come in for the next couple of weeks leading up to the elections to tell the people about themselves, about their party plans. And of course, as I see every day, this is to make sure that you can cast an informed vote. Okay, once you have the information, you can't claim ignorance. You have the information, you can go out there, choose whatever you want to choose based on how they've spoken to you, what they've told you, and cast an informed vote. I am joined today by the deputy leader and the number 2 candidate on the Nation Opportunity Wealth Party, the yellow party that we found out this morning is going to be number 6 on the voting ballot, the 6th party in line on the voting ballot. I want to say good afternoon to the one and only, literally one and only, nobody like him, Claudius Boncampo. Claudius Poncho Boncampo. How are you doing, boss?
I'm okay, Mike. Thanks for being with me this afternoon again.
Thanks for coming in a little earlier, man.
Yeah. I was busy, but anytime you get on radio or TV or whatever, it's always good to use it.
Yeah.
And like you said, inform the people as much as you can on what to expect.
Yeah.
But Mike, before I dive into what I want to do, I need to, on behalf of the Now Party, my family and all the other candidates and their families, extend a sincere condolence to Olivier and his family with the tragic loss of his wife last night in an incident that is not becoming of Samaritan and is not something we should tolerate or even promote. I see a lot of people are saying a lot of things on Facebook, and I ask that in these difficult times for him and his daughter and the extended family, that we refrain from saying things until the police has done their work, the authorities have figured out what really happened, and we move on. As in the political arena, we always say a lot of things, and we sometimes make enemies that we shouldn't make. But violence is not the solution to no problem in the world. You didn't give life, you shouldn't take life. I firmly believe in that. I don't wear this cross just to pretend. I wear it because it has a very special belief for me and a very special meaning for me. God gave us life and God can take life. And I don't think we should ever bring this into the political arena. I am very saddened when I heard it last night. I was lost for words, to be very honest with you, Mike. And I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to spend time on it because I think we should all relax, stay quiet. I want to call on the different people that have influence on the various groups in society, community leaders, the pastors, school teachers, sports people, whomever, politicians, whomever it may be, the government, that we come together and forge a path forward. We cannot just turn a blind eye on the loss of a life, no matter whom it is. So, with that, Mike, I again, on behalf of the Now Party, want to express our sincerest condolences to Mr. Olivier Arundel and his family, and to the daughter that was also there.
And investigation, it's going to proceed.
Yes, we got to respect that.
If the police or either French or Dutch needs assistance, and they will probably call for it, then let's see what kind of assistance they can lend.
Sure.
The public can lend to
anybody that knows something. This is the time to say something. This is very sad. She was a wife. She was a mother. Don't forget those things. We shouldn't forget this. This is not politics. We're talking about a human life that was lost very tragically.
And we still have an election to do. We still have an election to focus on for August 19th. Of course, now there's a cloud, but under that cloud, you still have to do what you have to do.
Yes.
And for this country, and let's see. But I mean, we have to.
In that same sense, elections are continuing. As party, we have decided to stay out of the neighborhoods. We're going to not canvass until further notice. We had our schedules ready. We know people were expecting us to come into the neighborhoods, but we, for now, are going to respect the situation. And naturally, we will. I noticed some meetings were canceled tonight too. As a sign of respect, and I think that's a very good thing to do. We have to deal with a situation that nobody expected, and naturally, how we forge forward will show the resilience and the strength of this country.
There's something happened. There was an event this morning in relation to the elections at the Parliament building. Maybe you could update the folks. I mean, I kind of mentioned it already. But maybe you could update
today was the choosing of the numbers, the choosing of the color, and pulling the number that you would be on the ballot.
Right.
And I know for sure the No Party, the yellow color is the number 6 on the ballot. So when you open the ballot, you'll find us in the middle there.
Right.
We are the glue that keeps the governments together. So that's why they have us in that area.
Probably the first one you're going to see as you open that ballot.
Oh yeah, you can't miss it.
Can't miss the yellow.
You can't miss
bright
that.
yellow. So that's number 6. You go to number 6, you cast, put your vote.
You just go to 1, 2, bap,
Anyone-
Bashabala. I hear for
You're
myself
not
today.
too far, right?
You gotta go too far. Just 1, 2, yeah.
Bam. Stay in the
But
circle.
naturally,
Stay in the circle.
anybody that is voting now, that's a great vote.
Yes.
We have 16 dynamic candidates.
Yeah.
And any vote you put on now is a good vote for the party and
Right.
for the candidate itself, naturally, because you show also the trust you have in that person.
Right.
So I call on all of us to come out on the 19th of August and do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Put the government you want. Put the government you deserve. Don't get into all the other shady practices. Just do what you gotta do,
Right.
and vote your conscience.
Can you also, Box, because I know you're always in tune with these things, can you also provide a little update about the GB container situation? I see there was some news that they're in place, or
Well, they arrived and they were transported down to GB. I don't know what the situation is logistically qua the infrastructure at GB, because they're going to have to create platforms or at least stirrups, poles for them to rest on. I don't think they're going to just rest them on the ground, but they'll have some sort of foundation put for these 740-foot containers. So, foundations can be built very fast, and if you use 5,000 psi with hardeners, within 24 hours you can have a rock solid foundation.
I don't know why I was thinking it was 2 containers.
No, it's 740-foot containers, for a total of about 10 megawatt. Those containers are anything between 1.3 to 1.5 megawatt, but an average of 10 megawatt power output. I think it's going to take a few weeks if everything is already in place, and it's just a matter of connecting and plug in and put fuel. If the fuel tanks are there already, because you're going to have some sort of fuel supply to those, because there is no fuel supply to that area of the plant yet, I believe. So, but again, I think GB will give, if they're going to market it correctly, will give a daily update on where we are, when, what are we looking forward to. I think to the Prime Minister, let me just say congratulations for having the emergency situation dealt with appropriately. We disagreed on some of the things, and like always, everybody has their position. I stand by mine still. I think the badge would have been the better way for the longer run. But again, we need to solve the immediate crisis. The immediate crisis, and that's being done right now with the 7 generators.
What happens after that?
What happens after that is still a discussion, and it will be after elections. So at least nobody gonna be playing with it. Let's hope we got power within the next 2-3 weeks. That prior to elections, power is fixed, and that we don't have blackouts during the election, and then you can't do this, or you can't go at night because you have no power, and then the voting is put in trouble, because remember, you close at 8 o'clock at night. You need power at least till 12 o'clock at night, because they got to count, they got to get the ballots out of there. You can't afford blackouts, and then suddenly
it can't be
all kind of craziness going down, So these are the type of things that a power crisis can have a very serious effect on. But you got to think about it, because those...
during the day.
No, but even if you're going to do that, maybe it's time to go by Napa, pick up 19 generators from 20 kVA, and make sure that the polling station and the surrounding lights are backup generators. And that way you can ensure safety at the polls also for voting.
Yeah, because if it's too dark, you got chaos.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
the police who were at those stations could only do so much.
Exactly,
So you
exactly.
want to support them, support them as
look,
well.
the situation of last night has changed a lot of things moving forward. So you have to be very attentive on how you do things. Like this morning, only one representative with an additional person was allowed into the building.
Into the building,
yes,
right.
instead of the parties coming there supporting, so, and naturally they jacked up security, which is understandable.
And unfortunate though.
Very unfortunate because
we were so used to being free.
Exactly. We have always campaigned freely, have debates, we even ball out at each other freely, but things have changed.
And we'll get into why and how those things have changed at a different point in time.
Yes.
Because there's a lot I want and could say, but I'm not going to say.
No, I don't think this is the time to say anything. We have to wait, let the investigations do their work.
That our Samaritan people need to understand. There's a lot of people saying this isn't St. Martin, but anyway, that's for a different time. But speaking of St. Martin, there is, last week when you were here, I told you I want to get into a discussion of, it's not a sexy topic, so to speak. It's not politically sexy for elections, because it's it's intangible and people, it don't really, it's not one of those topics you hear about. Now that's culture, heritage, monuments, performing arts, these kind of things. And they're so important to your identity as a people, as in your country.
But that's why it should be so important.
Sexy,
Let me start with something I wrote at the end to start this discussion. And it is as follows. If you don't know who you are or where you come from, you can never forge a proper path forward.
Correct.
Now, why do I say this? We have 120 plus nationalities living in this country. We are Samaritans. We are all Swaligans.
Yeah.
That's what we say. Some were born here, some were born to be here.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, what is here? What is our heritage? What is our culture? Because heritage is mostly monuments, things of the past, things that you protect. Culture is something that came from that heritage that you bring forward.
Yeah.
But we keep changing that as we go along because our population is changing.
Right.
So from the 40s and 50s, when you had a few thousand people in St. Martin, to now 2024, where you have 60,000 people here. Well, let me put it so, 58,000 registered, another 10, 15,000 undocumented. You have a lot of people here, but they bring their culture also from their country.
Correct.
Doesn't mean to say it will not become part of our culture, because we are a very intertwined community in the sense of we got 126 nationalities here. A lot of us married to people from St. Kitts, Anguilla. Look, let me look at myself, and I'll give you a simple example. My wife is from St. Martin.
Yes.
Her father was from Holland, and her mother was from Dominica, from Dunscott's Hill, Galion. So she has Dominica blood in her.
That's right.
I married into that. So my children got a little touch of Dominica blood in them too, from their mother's side. My mother is an Arubian. My father born here. My grandfather born here.
Yeah.
But my grandmother is from Sable. So, it only mixes up the bloods and the different countries.
Right.
What I'm trying to say, Mike, is we are our own. We have made our own. I go back 8 generations in St. Martin. The first Buncamper we could have found was named Vincent Buncamper.
Vincent, okay.
Back in the late 1700s.
Oh, that far back? Okay.
Yes, early 1800s. He was a slave. We have that documentation. You see, so I hear a lot of people talk things, but I very often ask myself, do you really know where you came from? Do you know who you truly are? Do you know what your heritage really is? We always go and do these blood tests to see how much African we be, how much Irish we be, how much Chinese we be. That's all nice and well, but that ain't who you are.
Exactly.
You are what you are. You are who your parents were, your ancestors. That's who you truly are. That's where you're going to find your heritage. You're going to find your lineage. Listen, the Buncampers, the Flanders, the Ratcliffes, we all one. The Van Heinekens is all one tree. This is when you're talking heritage. The book from Matthias Vogels, The Cul-de-sac People, that tells you
Which I recommend everybody if you don't
that
get it.
this is
Get a
heritage.
copy. Yeah.
Look, we have a handful of people in Samantha and a few organizations that have really, really gone the extra mile to promote heritage. Somebody like Clara Reyes, we take them for granted.
All the time.
But these are icons and there are many more. That's why I was so careful. But I have to mention Clara because what she did for Emancipation Day with her team.
Amazing, eh?
Oh, it gave me, I had shivers down my back when I saw the stories. It is, it is so real. And Mike, I ain't gonna be a hypocrite. I wasn't a big heritage person, a big cultural person, but because now politically you're so close to it, you start to pay more attention to it. And that's why I enjoy when you said, let's talk heritage.
Yeah.
Let's talk culture.
Yeah.
Let's talk monuments, because
But in that sense, you said it exactly right, because we are where we are politically, so you get close to it.
yeah.
How do you envision as another candidate and one of our leaders in the community, how you get the people closer to it, to understand it, to embrace it, to study it, to pass it on? Because I get a feeling it's not enough of it.
The easy answer is, teach it in school.
And that's the easy
But
answer.
that's for the little children.
Right.
And
And that's the staff
for the
members.
adults now, they have to start living it. They have to start understanding heritage.
Yeah.
Now, you hear a lot of politicians going to be blabbing about the orange economy.
Yeah.
Because I want to tie heritage into the orange economy. Because that's an economy that we don't touch.
Yeah.
You see, people believe when you speak about hospitality that it is only people who make enough beds and bartenders and beach boys, but it is not.
Yeah.
It is a product. It's an intellectual property that you're selling, and that is the orange economy. Be it dance, be it music, be it visual arts, be it audio system, whatever is yours, it's your intellectual. That's the orange economy.
Yeah.
And we need to tie that better into our economic diversification, our tourism, if we truly, we always say, man, we're going to do this for the young people. But then do it.
Yeah.
Then change the laws. Protect your musicians. Every time, and I know we just differ on this, every time you got carnival, a bunch of bands from outside coming in, but your own bands can't get a little digging on the road. And in Aruba and Kyoto, they have organizations that's protected.
They can't even go in the country.
You want to bring in, you have to pay a 10,000 euro fine so the carnival committee can put the bands on the road.
Yeah.
You see, no, these are the type of things that we got to stop speaking and start doing.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that the Now Party, because people don't like the education, the OECYS. Oh no, man, that's not a ministry you can get votes on.
Yeah.
But not everything is votes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to build your country.
Yeah.
And if you build your country and you can leave a legacy that you made the unimportant important, you have done your job.
Right.
Listen, for me, cultural heritage should not be on the second line. It should be on the front line. It's part of who you are.
Right.
People come and we call ourselves the friendly people, the friendly island. Which part of you is friendly? Which part of you is island? Because I don't know who you are. I just see a smiling face. Now, anybody can smile, but it doesn't mean it's a genuine smile.
Yeah.
It is who I am.
You can tell that a lot. And on this Facebook group they have, I think, something was about a lot of tourists come in there, they ask questions.
Yes.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever a tourist asks a question about culture or heritage or traditions and stuff like that, everybody in that group quiet.
Yes.
They can't, and then the lack of, look at these people.
No, but
they
you
can tell
see,
you where a club is, where the whole houses is, where that is, but they can't tell you a single thing.
because they don't know, Mike.
They
don't know. Mike, look, I come from a family that owns some land, and on that land, there are monuments. Think on the Vineyard Building, think on the St. Peter's Battery, for example. Those are two great examples of monuments on property of my family. And you notice we haven't built around it? You notice we chopped down the bush and we built like, when you go and no pun intended and no shots fired, but go look at Fort Amsterdam. At the boundary walls, there's a hotel room. And I'm saying, my God, man, this is a national monument.
Correct.
But we sold it. We sold it to them. And Today you want it back, but today you're going to come back for free.
Yeah.
You're going to come back with serious repercussions financially.
And of course, you went to a store, you didn't have enough the right conditions attached to that
To the sale. You know,
Correct.
but again, this happened 50 years ago. We can cry about spilled milk, but maybe we gotta say, okay, how do we fix this? How do we redo this? Do we build a road directly to the monument so that you can't go through the hotel and have it open, that you can still get to the monument outside of the hotel, and you know, you can do things of the, sorry, you can exploit it in a way that you restore the monument. Because you see, in the monument care, we have legislation, but the legislation is weak. It is not deep enough. We need to go deeper. We need to be able to protect a monument underground, underground, and in the air, because the monument is, a lot of people don't understand that you can't build an overpath over a monument. You can't. But we have monuments, right? Drive down Front Street, you see the old cisterns, the houses. Nobody ain't taking care of them. They're becoming dilapidated. And I'm saying, as government, try, so we tell them you can't knock it down, you can't build, but you don't have $1 in your pocket to help them restore it. Look at the Vineyard building.
Yeah.
My cousin is bending over backwards to try to restore that building that was damaged after Hurricane Irma. And there is no monument fund with money here to help you. So our legislation has to go that direction where there is money available to restore. In Curacao and Aruba, they did a hell of a job.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They
Curacao
bought up the
especially.
monuments,
Yeah.
restored them, and put like government entities in it, museums, and talking about museum. We have a museum down in some arcade on Front Street. And I'm saying the greatest location for our museum is that courthouse.
Pause. Pause, because I need people to understand it, because I'm glad you said it, because it is a terrific idea.
It's in our manifesto.
In the No
In the No Manifesto, we have stated it.
I think that's a terrific idea, because to me the courthouse will find a way to go.
No, but
Okay, I
again,
mean, what's happened at the courthouse? I mean,
the common
court.
courts,
Yeah.
they need another building.
They don't rent a
we
building
need to
someplace.
get rid of the show in town where you're bringing people,
Hands
snipers
off.
on the roof, and traffic stop and tourists taking videos
Correct.
of something that doesn't belong there.
doesn't.
Look, it has history.
Yeah.
It has history from the 17th century. What all was done there, how people were punished and slaves were sold, all fine and well. But that is part of our heritage, part of our history. But today, what we can do with that museum there, and not just a museum, because you have the whole archaeological part of what we have in artifacts here that doesn't have a home, the whole slave history, the slave museum. Maybe you can put a little dependance there, and you build another museum elsewhere. And for CMARC, you put a little dependance there, and you build another one. And for our natural museum, the museum itself, you put a dependance there. But tourists, when they get off,
Can you imagine?
they can say, oh my God, a museum, slave history, artifacts. Listen,
In charge of
we
fee.
naturally charge a fee, and that fee will help maintain it. Cannot cover the cost,
No.
but it will help maintain it.
Correct.
Look, let me boast that the Ministry of ECYS right now, the minister and his cabinet have been diligently working on establishing of a National Heritage Center. And we are going to live up to the commitment we made in January to invest in culture and heritage and to safeguard the legacy of our ancestors and to ensure a vibrant continuation for future generations. We need a place to do that.
Yes.
And I think the courthouse
It's a good
is
start.
an ideal location. It is not the ultimate solution because we're going to need more space.
course.
So we might have to add on a little piece, or like I said, create dependencies, and then you can make a bigger one elsewhere.
Yeah.
But that the tourists get off, they can learn about St. Martin right there.
But just imagine, folks, you know, this is why I love this idea so much, and I still do. I love it. A tourist coming off on the square, you walk up, you see a historic building. The building is historic, although it looks old.
Yeah.
It has a feel, and you can just walk in there, take a tour inside. It's like a guided tour. You could even make it a AI multimedia type of thing. You're from one spot. You got the CMARC section, and then you see maybe a AI image of J. Harrison just pop up, giving a little story about what's happening there.
But
It's a story of the court, not only the story of the courthouse, but of our heritage and tourists. That is the authentic type of tourism And cultural tourism?
that you're going to get today.
People want.
They are looking for this. We are not offering this. We are offering a concrete jungle that we have to get away from.
Yeah.
So that's why this whole initiative that is to establish this commission that will dedicate to carry out the preparations for this National Heritage Center
Brilliant.
is brilliant. And I'm so happy to say that I understood the advice is already by legal to vet it and get it out. Listen, the intention to have the National Hurricanes, the Heritage Hurricane, my mind is in hurricane, the Heritage Center, the museum, the slavery, and all them together is something that you don't find elsewhere in the Caribbean.
No, they cannot.
We are unique to that because we are putting our museum, our archaeological stuff, and the slavery museum that they made money for. They made money available. The Dutch made money available to have on every island a dependance. So let's use where they used to sell the slaves in the same place. Let's make that part of the dependance. So I'm saying there's so much that we can do. Look, building a new justice building to house the courts can be done. We should look at places like APS. I've said it before, the Parliament building. You got to build a new one? Look at places like APS. They have money that they are investing abroad that they can invest here because, Mike, a way to get a country out of poverty is to ensuring that you have infrastructural construction ongoing and your local contractors do the work. Not like what I spoke about yesterday with Chinese coming in here and getting... because I know they get upset with me. God bless all of them. Bottom line is, I represent the people in St. Martin. That means I got to look out for their future, their well-being. And when we say we're a nation of opportunity and wealth, if we want to stand and do what we are doing, we can't afford money leaving the country. So I want the APS to invest in St. Martin where the return on investment is guaranteed because the justice building can be built, we can house there, we are paying rent all over the place, we can move into that building and that rent can pay. We pay for Parliament nearly 100,000 a month. We can take that money and pay APS back every month for the new Parliament building. We got to start doing these things. We, when I was in Parliament, I was the chairman of the new Parliament building, and we were pushing, and then unfortunately I had to leave. And MP William Allen did continue pushing, then he got sick, and it just simmered, and it ain't moved no place. But we got to pick it up and move it.
In case those, the folks are there going to say, but Lord, how are you going to fit all these things in one building? I don't think that's the idea to fit it in one building. I think it's a good start. I mean, it should be the central point, the focal point. But just imagine, I keep saying it, you have almost like how Miami have the design district, where you have all these name brands and stuff like that. Imagine we have a cultural district. So you start at the cultural, the courthouse, you can, a little short walk, you move on to the Heritage Center, and then you move on to another section, and
Mike,
you create a whole thing in town.
Back in the 90s, it was called the Almira Plan, the Green Walkway. So where we are now going to build the vendors market. Remember, in there, you can ensure that what they are selling is not just t-shirts and caps, but that you have more, that you have artists in there selling their candles, their music. Look, Heritage covers more than just t-shirts. Heritage has to go further. And I'm saying, let's look at what we're going to do. I'm not saying that's what we got to do. I'm saying let's look at how we do it. And when you reach over the Clem La Vega Square and you have the Parliament building there, you create a nice park there and one or two buildings where, again, you can house more of your heritage. Put your high councils there, put your National Archives there. You can do more. So the walk, the Heritage Walk, starts there. I was just in Boston for convention last year. And mind you, Mike, there is what they call the walk, the Freedom Trail, the Freedom Walk. And you walk that through Boston. And it's remarkable. But you can also create a heritage walk through Phillipsburg. And you can go to the old system, the old buildings, the old convent. There is so much you can do. We just don't do it. And the group of people that are working now, they seem to be dedicated and they seem to know what they want. And as the Now Party, we are there to support that group because they have put in the time and effort and energy to get us to where we are. And this is not about taking credit. This is about ensuring continuity.
Yeah.
That's why come August 19th, we need people to vote for people that genuinely are trying to make a difference.
Exactly.
Not just say, give me 4 more years, give me 1 more chance.
Yeah.
That's utter nonsense. Yeah. You had your chance, you failed.
And not to put it in the manifesto, which is sound good. You know, a lot of times these things, heritage and culture, end up in manifestos.
Yeah.
Just if we say, hey, let's just put it in.
Because I said something about it, but I don't really mean it.
Right.
You know, and these are, look, I'll give you, you know, I don't want to jump from side to side,
That's okay.
but the last administration started the sports lottery, the national sports lottery. Now, let me give you a little example there because I wrote it here, so I wanted to make sure I said it correct. In Aruba, this national sports lottery exists and money, an X amount of money goes to the sports every year. We want to do it different. Since research was done locally and market research was done by the Canadian banknote, and they are still willing to come back to St. Martin to execute the national sports lottery, like how they are, because they are running the one in Aruba. So we said, okay, take the concept from Aruba and see if it is implementable here. Because Aruba also got casinos, Aruba also got lottery places. So they're not so different from us when it comes to that.
Right.
For whatever reason, the previous government just stopped. They didn't continue with it. And I don't know why, and I'm not going to speculate on why, but I think we should pick it back up. But we are not just going to do sports. I think we have to take that additional step. We want to add in performing arts. We need a center for the performing arts. And if we do this, we have a source of income. And with that source of income, you can hold the sports better and you can hold the performing arts better. You can't do everything from it. No. I know the former minister said he was going to take a cent or guilder from the fuel.
Yeah.
And
what happened to it?
I don't know. Okay. Only God knows.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever happened and if it happened where the money went. Right. You know, because I haven't seen it in the sports. I haven't seen it. Our sports complexes are still in a horrible shape. Look at Raul Illich. It's a shame that we don't even have bleachers there yet. You know, 4 years, 6 years have passed and nothing. Right. You know, so in that sense, I thought the money from the gas or from the fuel would have gone there, but unfortunately it didn't go. Right. But what I'm saying is, maybe we should go back down that road and review it, because one of the things that they also offered was to review the structure of the gaming environment in St. Martin, which may maybe lead to this elusive gaming board being established. I don't know if that caused it to suddenly stop. I don't know, and I don't want to speculate that, but I'm saying let's go back, let's get that national sports lottery up for sports and performing arts, and if they can help us with the gaming board, please, let's do so we can regulate the gambling industry in this country once and for all, and collect our fair share of taxes. That's all it is.
I'm totally lost on the gaming board. What those obstacles
well,
are.
You know, I don't want to speculate because I always make enemies when I say these things.
Now, back to the Monument Council for a little bit. It seems like we have a Monument Council with no teeth.
No, it's not that we don't have a we have a Monument Council, but it doesn't have teeth in the sense that the legislation is not strong enough. And that's why I said just now, we need to create a stronger legislation. But more importantly, we need to have some place in the legislation that I can tackle you. You can't demolish a monument and you don't even get questioned or arrested. This is crazy.
But how is that not in the
either it is not important enough for the public prosecutor's office to deal with it because the monument was destroyed. No ifs and buts about it. Everybody cried crocodile tears. Oh God, we know. No, please stop it, man. We know the monument was there.
Right.
Monument has been there for hundreds of years. Let us not pretend. We run all kind of walks in Diamond Estate. We know the monument was there.
Yeah.
We know they were selling the land. Let's not pretend. We should stop this hypocrisy. Right. This is my problem with these things. I am saying, If we need to adjust the criminal code to deal with it, then adjust it. You only look at the lack of politicians,
Yes.
but you're not looking to hold those accountable that are destroying our cultural heritage.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. We mash up monument after monument. The last one, they just went and licked down the whole place there, well gelegen. Clean off half the hill and the whole thing was gone. The landhouse is gone. I mean, come on. Are we serious? You know, we need legislation that will hold not only the person that damaged it, but the facilitator and the owner.
Right.
Because the owner stands to make money and the facilitator is doing the job.
Right.
He's hiring the people. Fella comes, he don't know the monument, he just go and lick it up because he said, take down that old building so I could put on. He doesn't know better.
Right.
He just comes there with the machine. But the others involved, they know better. And we don't touch them. I didn't know he did that. Yeah, he got a job to clean. I thought he knew that's a monument. Why would he do that? You know, these type of ludicrous behaviors are still allowed in St. Martin. Other countries, they're picking you up, you're losing your business license and you're going to jail. And then when we start doing these type of things, I'm not promoting to go pick up people and lock them up. But if you are going to intentionally destroy a monument, yes, then you should be dealt with harshly.
Do you feel we should be doing more in terms of awareness and stuff of monuments? Because I used to have you line of 10 people, probably 9 who can't tell you what's a monument or something.
No, because they don't know. Like I said, you have a part that starts in education.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're a melting pot. We have never educated our people of heritage, culture, nor monuments, anything.
Never.
But we're going to have to start. So it has to become part, and in the Ministry of ECYS, one word stands for education.
Yeah.
The other one stands, the C beside it stands for culture. So culture and heritage go hand in hand. So you would have hoped that the culture would have been put into the educational system.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is not good enough.
Right.
I don't know if it is there, but
There's
if
some
it
there,
is,
but
it's not good enough
Yeah.
for sure, because it doesn't come over good enough.
Right.
And you very often see that reflected in
The young people.
your carnival.
And the carnival.
And because when you go to Urban Kyoso and you see the folkloric parts of carnival, you say, okay, these people understand who they're about. When you have Seu with the cow ho and so, that is heritage.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't do that here.
And that starts down there, right? That starts from
Sure.
elementary school.
But
Start
exactly,
from elementary school
because
straight
the
up.
whole Seu is a celebration of a period of time among the slaves. But we don't do that here.
No.
But lo and behold, let somebody, oh, they're taking us and the slave, this. You see, but we don't even know the heritage.
Yeah.
And this needs to be taught.
And when you try to have a discussion with some of the schools and school boards here, they tell you it's against our Christian beliefs.
Again,
But we're
again,
not telling you to.
again, Mike, you want my money? As government, I'm subsidizing you. I'm going to tell you a few things.
Exactly.
I'm not going to tell you which God to believe to.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you that the culture and heritage of this country, you're going to teach it.
Exactly.
And if you don't want to, then take your school and get out of my country.
Yeah.
Because you're not good for my country.
Yeah.
If you believe that my culture and my heritage is not down your line of educating the people of this country, well, then you got a problem.
Yeah. Yes.
And this has to do a lot of times with whom we have educating our children. Because a lot of teachers come here because we have a shortage of teachers. But we have to give them a certain part of training where heritage, culture, social morals and values of this country are part and parcel of it.
Right.
You know that when the boys them in Holland are trained to come down here to work, they get a whole, what we call in Dutch, inburgering
Yes.
on how to be an Antillian, a Samaritan, a Kyosolinian.
Yes.
So that they know how to mingle among us, to know who doing what. The same we got to do with teachers.
Yeah.
You got to understand the children you're teaching.
That's right.
If you don't understand them, you can't teach them. You
Yeah.
can't get to them. You know, teaching is a very special thing to me because my mother was a teacher for 47 years.
Right.
I've seen that love she gave to the children she taught. She even teach me once, but then I used to get punished at home too. So I get punished in the
It's a
class.
double?
A double whammy this year. But you know, it is so important important, though.
It is.
That we understand.
relate.
And that's what I kept saying just now too. Culture and heritage, or cultural heritage, however you want to theme it, has to be on the front line. It cannot be in the second line. It must be up front. Just like with your passport, it's up front.
Yeah.
Just like who I am up front. I am Claudius Anthony Boncamper, a 8th generation Samantha, mother from Aruba, grandmother from Sabre, mother-in-law from Dominica, and I can go on and on. That's who I am. And I can tell you where to find many cultural artifacts in this country. But do I know it all? No, I don't. I too can learn.
Right.
People like Jay Harvison should be praised and kept close so that we don't lose what we have. People like Clara Reyes should be put on a pedestal and not just kept in a corner because we want to hear that story again.
Not supported enough.
You know, well, they're supported, but they got to put them on a pedestal now because the story has to be told. You know, say what you want about Louis LaVaste. But I was one man that stood up for culture. I mean, he had a lot of differences politically. But when it comes to culture, Louis LaVaiste, the playwright, was a great cultural icon. You got to give Jack his jacket.
Yeah.
That's what he was.
He still writes now. Like
Yes, but I mean, he's not as active as like, I would have loved to see him.
Like, I think one of the stuff whenever like the pageants need like stories.
Yeah,
and stuff
I'm
like
sure
that.
he
writes it.
He don't even have to write it. He could just bring it out. You know, they are those people. We should not lose them.
Yeah.
We should pull them back in and say, okay, listen, you know, we're going to get a group together that we can really put all these things on paper, but on paper in such a way that a child enjoys it. The story tells itself. The story sells itself, you know.
Is it renaming our buildings, our roads, our whatever? Isn't that a big part of it? Should that help?
Sure.
Isn't that part of the education? Because look at that. Nowadays, we still, a lot of people still calling their corner by Real Auto Old Van Dorp. You know, he still refer to things as food center.
Yeah.
You know, those of us who grew up, because it was just ingrained.
But
you have a lot of roads here that still carry Dutch names. You have a lot of buildings here that should be named.
And again,
you know,
Mike, you know, look, when you talk cultural heritage, when you hear, like, I know there was a discussion about, I think it was Diedrich van Roermond, because that's the alley there by Canigita and them. Oh, we should change that to another name. And I have no issue with changing the name. But let us not do as if Diedrich was a bad person.
Yeah.
Diedrich owned a lot of things in Samartan, and he sold them. He gave Emilio Wilson a golden and industrial estate.
Yes.
They gave it to him. He was their milk boy. You know, we got to know the whole story if we want to talk about it. I don't know everything. I know my aunts, my great aunts, Coxina, they bought the vineyard building from Diedrich van Roermond. Because that's where they used to live too. The Belvedere plantation that the plants them bought was from the Van Roermonds too. You know, they owned nearly the whole damn island because they were down here as people that were running the country on behalf of the Dutch government, not the West Indies Company, because that time had passed already. That time had passed. So they settled here. In the late 1800s, I believe they settled in Samata. I think some of them even came from Station because that was the Golden Rock. You know, but what I'm trying to say is, yes, we have a lot of local heroes and I think Frankie Myers did a nice thing when he said Melford Hazel and Elvis Scott Sports Auditorium, and we started naming things after our own. Yes, we should. You know, you have the A.J. Browers Road, and people don't know that history, but that was one of our greatest architects.
Yes.
That's why
Yeah.
You know, so you have the Walter Nisbet Road. You know, look, we have people that have served this country well. And, you know, there are always more names than monuments.
Right.
But why did we name Nipa?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me there wasn't a school teacher, and I want to start no trouble now.
No, it's true.
But my mother served and built.
It's a perfect. You start no trouble.
Build the home economics in Samartan. From back in the 70s, she went through Sundial, Inspector of Education. I had so hoped that they would have called it the Jane Boncamper Harms Center for Enhancement. But they decided to call it the National Institute of Professional Enhancement. You don't even recognize your own. 47 years, just to show you. And And I say this because it has bothered me for a long time. But, you know, after a while you say, you know what? It is what it is.
Is this the Phillipsburg Community Center?
Yeah.
I mean, you have Camille,
But
Louis, you have
listen,
Ian Valls, you have Keith,
Camille was one of
all
the
these people-
biggest cultural icons we
Of
have known.
course.
He was the man that started the fight for recognition of culture in St. Martin.
Yeah.
What have we named after him?
No.
Thank you. Case van Dalderen, Ian Valls.
Ian Valls,
So
yeah.
you have, where we have the dance school, man even named the dance hall after him.
It's a hall.
Or something. Arlene Harley.
Yeah.
Give them their roses when they're alive.
Correct.
You know, this is my thing, and this is why the orange economy that I just referred to in the beginning, that's where I want to dive into, is that we need to really make it a reality.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Right.
I want to really hope that, you know, even the little time we still have as now party, that we start to put the groundwork, put the framework together for how can the orange economy really work in St. Martin.
Yeah.
What can it do for this country that, you know, hey, we can do? Because when you do a little, just, you don't have to do much research, just a little research to figure out what's happening in the Caribbean when it comes to the orange economy, you will realize that it includes sectors of goods and services. That's the hospitality sector. That's an orange economy. It's based on the creation of intellectual property such as designs, visual arts, tourism, cultural heritage, new media and soundware, performing arts, music, and literary arts and publications. So House of Nehesi, all of this is the orange economy.
Yeah.
What do we really do? Other than, but great book. But do we buy 500 and share them out? No, we don't. No, we don't.
Good point.
You see, this is my problem.
Yeah.
We talk the talk, but we don't walk the walk. And this is the difference that the now wants to bring. We need a new direction. We need a new way of looking at things. We need a new way of tackling things. If we don't take care of we, nobody gonna do it for us.
No.
And I've heard others say, "This we gonna help we." I didn't see that happen the last 4 years. I see we screw we. But okay, that's a different story. That's for the political stage when they're ready for them, because you know, today I'm trying to really stick to the facts.
Right.
But the nonsense outside sometimes is so deafening that people lose sight of what are we really going to do and how are we really going to do it. And the big question is whether you get the money from.
Yeah.
Now, the sports lottery, sports and performing arts lottery might be able to open the door to do something in sports, because sports, culture, and those things, those are step children.
Right.
When you're given 1% of your budget, or less than 1% of your budget to sports, please don't talk about you're looking athletes and you're looking this.
Yeah.
You don't get nothing.
Yeah.
Go to Curacao and you'll learn. Go to Aruba and you'll learn. Ask yourself why they can win world championships in baseball. They have 10, 15 professional baseball players and we're still scrambling to get 1 or 2. And we have the talent here.
It's not a priority for us.
Exactly.
It's not.
And so it's cultural heritage.
Not
Not a priority.
Not a priority.
We knock down the monuments to build parking lots or to build buildings.
Yeah.
Well, for that, we can give a permit.
Yeah.
For that, we might get a little campaign money. This is our problem.
Yeah.
Mike, this is our problem.
Yeah.
And that's why we need a new direction, a new way of thinking.
And you know, I hope, in my circles, I was always telling them, I hope you guys are listening, like when told you in the air and stuff. Understand that you have to vote differently, because every 4 years the Olympics come around. You see how people talk on Facebook. I really don't see St. Martin on the walking.
But if you're not, but St. Kitts is there, Anguilla is there, Grenada is there, Aruba is there, Kyoto. And why are they there? Because they prepare for it. They invest money. Listen, we got people like Arthur Bell walking around here that has been in the National Olympic Federation Board. The man was a judoka that fought for the Netherlands until he's in Olympics.
Yeah.
But we take him and we push him aside because we don't like who he is.
Yeah.
This is nonsense. Use the people. The Dutch always say, but you don't have capacity.
Yeah.
Naturally, we don't have it because we self push them away.
Yeah.
Look, think long have I not been asking? And it started before me. Let me give credit to Franz Richardson,
Right.
who started the whole drag strip.
Right.
He said, we need a drag strip. Man, I've heard that story. I went this time by Vrom, I looked for land. We found 2 pieces of land and we are trying our utmost to get a group together. And I was happy that I could sit with Rayon and Patrice and all them, Minister Patrice, and agree that we're going to get the organizations all come together, create a foundation, and the foundation gets the land where all players are represented.
Right.
So that if they, I give you, or I give you, no.
Yeah.
And the goal is drifting, drag racing, get the boys in with the motorbikes there, do your stunts over there, stay off the road, you know, those type of things. That's what we are looking for. And at least I found a listening ear from the Ministry of Romy when it came to this. So I was very, very happy for that. You know, because if we don't work together, and if we only want to do things for us as party, because then we go shine, you're going to place.
Yeah, but if they have
You're going to
this
place.
again, we are our own worst enemy, because had you listened to France back in the day, look at what happens now on these different islands when it comes to this thing bringing millions into these
Because
islands.
listen, it's an extremely expensive sport.
Yes.
It is worse than golf.
Yeah, but the amount of people that travel to the
Naturally,
location.
because it's a big thing. Listen, people love excitement.
Yes.
Listen, when people go, you don't see how much people go to wrestling?
Yeah.
Even though fake.
It's
But it is
entertainment.
excitement, it's entertainment.
Entertainment.
Drag racing is entertainment.
Yeah.
Cars them reffing, blowing smoke and fire in the back there. Hey, everybody going crazy. They didn't even worry about who went in, you know.
No.
It's the show.
Yeah.
And I must give France credit. He did open that
door.
door to go. And the people never walked it.
No.
They worked against him so often. I myself tried getting land, and we will be bombarded. You can't do this or you can't do it. And not because they didn't want to, you know, because they didn't want France to show.
France to do it, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and same thing with waste energy.
Yeah.
They didn't want Christopher to
Christopher.
shine, and today we import in containers. You see, this is Samaritan that needs to change. This is why we need a new direction. And you know, Mike, I want to be bold and say, for any party to be able to bring the framework for the country that's best, they need an outright majority.
Yeah.
You know, and
That is true.
it's a big ask, but I gotta ask. You gotta give the now your true support. You gotta really think about it very carefully. We are capable. We have people that can do what needs to be done.
That's right.
This is a parliamentary election. This is not an election for minister. Because people are always confused. Oh, I built so much of roads. My brother, you were put there to build the roads.
Yeah.
That's the governing program. Stop carrying on like a fool.
Yeah.
You're there to fix this. You're there to fix that. That's your job as minister.
Yeah.
You ain't doing me a favor. Parliament is the election. And as parliament, you go in and you have a legislative role or a co-legislative role, and you also have a supervisory role on government. You know like how GB got supervisory board? Parliament is the supervisory board of the government.
Correct.
When you do wrong, I give you a lick on your backside.
Yeah.
Tell you, hey, come here. We're going to do it this way, or you're going home.
Right.
'Cause I can send you home.
Right.
Same with the supervisory board. You don't listen, I send you home. This is how it has to work.
All right. So so now we know, you know, the Now Party has you know, culture and heritage as a priority in its manifesto.
Yes.
You told us that you know that the ministry is working on some things big. Probably gonna hear about it soon.
Yeah, I think I want to leave the glory for the minister, because
Yeah.
they're doing the work together,
Yeah.
but together with his cabinet and the ministry. The ministry is remember, the ministry is the driving force
Yes.
behind any minister and any cabinet. Because if the civil servants are not doing it,
Yeah.
they ain't going no place.
Yeah, that
it ain't going no
That
place.
ministry has Serena Powell Richardson
Yes.
at the
A very
lead,
hard-working lady.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I must say, I have learned to meet a lot of them, you know, because my wife works in the cabinet, so I get a chance sometimes to peek
Pop
in
in.
and you know, see some of them, talk to some of them, even though as a former civil servant for 25 years, I know most of them.
Right.
And I know what their work was. But I'll give you an example. You know, I had applied to be, for example, on the board of the Monument Council. I think with my knowledge, my ability and experience, I would make a great candidate. And it was the first time that I went into that office of monuments in the back to visit. You know, while I have been in that building since 2017,
Right.
after the hurricane, we took office there. I was there for 3 years. But it shows you that in that little building, you still don't know all the nooks and
No.
cracks. So imagine the country.
Exactly.
So imagine the country.
Now, in case you just joined us, folks, it is 2:30, but he's with us for another half an hour. We're talking to the number 2 candidate and the deputy leader of the Nation Opportunity Wealth Party, the NOW Party, who today got their number on the voting ballot, which is number 6. So as you open our voting ballot, that bright yellow is going to hit you in your face. You're going to see that 6. And down the line, you put your vote in the circle for anybody. If you prefer, you put it in number 2. Okay, on that ballot on the NOW Party list. You mentioned something on Facebook this week. Bobs, I don't want to get some clarity because I wasn't following you. I didn't get time. You know, my daughter's are leaving on Sunday to go away, and I'm so busy this week. Something about contractors.
Yeah.
About I think, if I correct me if I'm wrong, but foreign contractors get to work through NRPB.
Well, it's not.
Or it had your concern.
Well, more than my concern.
More concern, okay.
More than my concern. Mike, you have to understand that when we were devastated in 2017, the Dutch government said we're going to make a trust fund available. We have a little problem with trust, so we're going to have an entity oversee the spending that is approved by the steering committee, which had somebody from Holland, somebody from Samaritan, and naturally somebody from the World Bank who was managing the fund.
Right.
And they created the vehicle, the NRPB, National Recovery Bureau, to really handle the day-to-day.
Right.
Now, from day one, I told them, I have a problem when you put the World Bank to run such an entity. And not, I have nothing against the World Bank, personally, but their track record has left a lot of countries in disarray.
That's right.
They walk in and they believe you're some third world developing country and they're the smartest thing.
That's how they see everybody.
And they see you as dumb. Your organization is no good. Your policies is no good. Your government is no good. That's how they treat you.
Yeah.
Don't let nobody fool you.
Yeah.
They take you up to Washington, they wine and dine you, and then they make you sign that debt contract. And that's what we did. In 2018, we went up there, everybody was so impressed, and blah, 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 and they signed. Guess what you signed? You signed your death wish. Now, that was a 4-year contract, so that should have stopped in 2022. But it didn't because of COVID. There was an extension given of 2 years. But guess what? That came to an end now too, so now they want another 2 years. So they want to go till 2026. Something that had to take 4 years is going to take 8 years at least. And they are looking at 2027 already, which means they want to go further than the 2 years given. Now, my thing is this. They come with so many safeguards and policies. Oh, we got to watch the social aspect. We have to watch the labor, the environment, this, the that. I'll give you an example, Mike. They said that the landfill was a grade A problem, which means all safeguards are
Not necessary.
are brought in.
Right.
Everything. So they have to clear up all the land beside the landfill. Everybody had to move. $14 million paid out to people to leave from there. GB, TLM, all those that were there legally didn't get $1 to move. They just had to move. But all the others got money. Registered and unregistered. They said, oh no, everybody was nearly Dutch. Yeah, I know. People in Santo Domingo collecting big money for buildings that they never owned and land they never paid a cent for. Look, when I objected, I said, no, we don't need to do that. What we got to do is go with immigration and clean up that place. You know what was told to us? Anybody get picked up, we scrap the landfill project. We scrap it. So it is more important for them to ensure that those that are here stay. Listen, after hurricane, already we had big problems that people had to stay and not be sent back to their homes where they came from because we couldn't take care of them. 80% of the homes are gone. Your utilities are in problem. Your infrastructure is damaged. Go back home. I can understand you don't send them to Haiti, you don't send them to Dominica because they were hit with Hurricane Maria and the earthquake and they're still reeling. But the other countries could have gone back home and given us a breather. A lot of people jumped on planes and left. Those that could afford. But those that couldn't afford stayed. And the vegan foods had to be feeding people. Marines feeding people. Look, Mike, it was an experience I will never forget. A human tragedy, I would call it, because I have never seen this before to this magnitude. But now we are busy rebuilding, and we're going to be rebuilding resiliently. You're going to tell me people that are living here undocumented, or even if they are documented, but have never paid $1 for the land they're squatting on, I am going to dish out $14 million, because that's what it dished out. And then when you open your mouth, oh, you're against. I'm against. I must be against. Because that's not called for. They were going as far as they had to build homes for them.
Yeah.
That if we take them, if we move them, we got to put them in a house. So I asked them, where are we going to build these affordable social homes? That the housing foundation looking for 3,000, but we're going to move people from the landfill and put them in homes. I said, we can't be serious. Are you listening to the message you're sending? They don't care because they live in Washington. They are A-OK. And then you come and you start using international bids. Because this is where it started.
Right.
They use international bids. These international bids are quite complicated. And many local contractors cannot qualify.
Right.
So here you get one or two local boys qualified. I think it was Lecom qualified in one and Winter Rose qualified in one, or in two. And you then get a Chinese consortium that was state-owned and is now maybe an LTD funded by the state. And they will win the contract because they were 3.98 million and I think Winter Roads was 5.7 million. So yes, there's a difference of 1.7 million. But that 1.7 million was staying here in this economy, you know. Yeah. That 5.7 million is in this economy. Winter Roads is here, it pays taxes here. It has 84 local people from St. Martin working here, eating here, spending here, paying premiums here. Not the other company, because they can bring in their people if they so desire, because that's allowed. Remember, back in 2017, that's how they started rebuilding hotels over the hill.
Yeah.
Important people. All right. You know, you see, people have a very short memory span, but not Toncha. I'm going to be old and gray, but my memory is as sharp as hell. And we have to understand we can't continue this way. Look, we did things when we needed it.
Yeah.
2017, forgiven and forgotten because we were in a crisis. A lot of people that we needed to help us build had to build back their own homes. So I understand that. But in this day and age, no, I don't understand it. Why are you giving it to a company that can bring in people, bring in their own material, bring in their own food? They do it in other countries in the Caribbean. And then they get upset. When I call them out, they get upset.
Who, NRPB?
Yes, they get upset. Oh, look what happened last night. And they calling our names. But you're doing it. I told them what I said yesterday was simple. I said, I call on the governor. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong again. I call on the government, the Prime Minister in particular, to call the Prime Minister of the Netherlands and have him instruct the World Bank not to grant the contracts. Because the NRPB had signed a notification of awarding. That doesn't mean to say it's awarded.
Right.
And to stop that, our Prime Minister doesn't have to go do no research. Just call the Prime Minister in Holland, tell him, stop this nonsense, we're not going to accept it. That's all. That's what I said. And I called out the director and I said, shame on you. Because you should be working for us. Not taking the money that was sent to St. Martin to build back St. Martin and revive its economy to put it in a Chinese company. That's what I said, and I stand by that. And if you don't like it, you know where the courthouse is. He know where it be. Because I don't have a problem going and saying that story again and again and again until he learns. Because this is stupidness, Mike. These are things that we should not tolerate.
When was it? When did this happen?
This happened, it started in May, and in June, more happened. I got to know about it when the petition was sent to Parliament and to government. That's when I got to see it.
Right.
And then I started asking questions. I called people. I asked, do you all have documents? I don't want to talk about something if I don't have documents. So I got documents. Let me just check. I didn't expect this show to talk about that.
Yeah, I had to talk about it because it's a big rod on there it is.
Look at it. Look at it there.
There it is.
That's the NRPB, it says. It don't say about Campo. All right? Notification of intention to award. This is the document.
So but it did not award it as yet.
No, I don't think it's awarded.
And they only named what, one company?
There were two companies. Okay. The Shenyang No. 2 Construction Engineering Co. Ltd. for 3.983 million and Windward Roads for 5.75 million. And the evaluated bid cost was 5.3 million. So 400,000 less. And the Chinese get 96.89% of 100, and Windward Roads get 73.59. So either you knew the bid, or you're a super duper contractor.
That's 96 to get it that high. That's
all right, good. And pricing,
We'll
and I'm
see.
sure pricing played a role, because that by us pricing also plays a role.
But I had a bigger
But
difference.
the ethical part of this is the money is supposed to help this economy, not leave this economy. And that's what's happening here. So the reason of the trust fund is being sidestepped by hiding behind international tenders. That's why I said when the boys them fighting here for tender, I smile, look at the money staying here. So I don't care who gets vexed.
Right.
But you know what's ironic? They gave it to the lowest bidder. When I did that with the landfill, they prosecute my ass and say, I give them the tender, I fix the tender. Maybe the OM should go and check the tender now. Go check some of those documents.
And you said they are allowed to bring in their own?
The World Bank has very special conditions. In the tenders, the people bid to build with their materials. The tender doesn't say you have to buy it here by Ace or by Koiman or by 5 Star. No, they're bringing in their stuff themselves. We have contracts to tender, to trench, Mike, to trench and put GB's cables on the ground. And they're bringing in Irish companies. They're allowing an Irish company to tender. Why? So you want to tell me?
For trenching?
For trenching, Mike. For trenching. For trenching, Mike. This is craziness. That we even going there. Because GB still got a lot of stuff got to go underground. I honest to God, don't understand.
But we more than have the companies that can do that. I mean,
Oh man, we got so many companies that trench here. All you gotta do is you set the criteria and the work you want. People say, oh, our roads are so weak and so bad. The company, go. No, it's you get what you pay for. If you set the criteria, I want a trench dug so deep, it must be layered so much, and you have people controlling the work will be done well. If you don't have people controlling the work will be done bad. That's normal. So these are the things, Mike. You know, I know I'm gonna get myself in trouble because I ain't gonna back down. And they're gonna keep telling me, oh, you're hitting your own. I'm not hitting my own. No. What I'm doing is I'm telling my own from this country, stop doing what you're doing. Well, protect your own.
Congressman, the late Congressman Lewis said, sometimes good trouble is needed. Good trouble is needed to have effective change. Now, speaking of trenching and everything, boss, we're in the hurricane season, obviously. We're heading towards the teeth of the hurricane season. Let's hope we don't get anything before elections. We've got to have a different mess altogether. And I know that is something you're passionate about in terms of island preparation. Yeah. We're looking around you. How you feeling about what you see around the country?
Mike,
in terms of
I have done preparations for 25 years, so I have a decent insight on it. The guys in Vromi, the girls in Vromi that do this work, they're doing their best.
Right.
I think they're being confronted now with problems of payment, contractors not being paid, and naturally the work will not be done.
Of course.
A lot of trenches seems to have been cleared, the big ones, but there are still a lot of small trenches that can become a serious problem for the surrounding inhabitants, that they are not cleared, the water slows down, it will overflow into the yard, into the house, and then you have property damage unnecessarily. I think the biggest concern I have, Mike, is that we don't have stormwater pumps. And because we don't have stormwater pumps, we depend on two things. We depend on the good Lord not to throw too much water when we have an issue, and we depend on opening the Great Bay mouth and running the water into the sea. Now, if we have a hurricane passing to the south of us, we are going to have a serious beating qua sea. The sea will be extremely high, and it will come in most probably,
comes all through this alley here,
not allowing the water to get out. And because we don't have pumps, you see with Irma we had pumps, and we ran our pumps through Irma. Our boys slept in that building.
Pump house up there.
Yes, sir. Two of them. in Soccer Garden
And by
and at the Vromian. We had 3 pumps running. 1 pump at 24,000 gallons and 2 pumps at 36,000 gallons. I'm talking per minute.
Ooh.
Okay. That's water you flushing.
Yeah.
And still,
Still water came through.
we couldn't stop it. Now you want to imagine we have something like that and we have no pumps.
Why are the pumps not working?
The pump stopped working before I left, and we had done a whole review because we were talking to VNG in Holland, and we had gotten pumps by ABB. We had set up a purchasing agreement with them through VNG, and we had asked if the World Bank or the Trust Fund would pay for it because it was a critical part of our infrastructure.
Right.
And remember, they were helping us with hurricane preparedness. That was also one of the
Right.
VNG international projects. They help us rewrite our whole hurricane manual, etc. How to write contract, not how to write the contract, but how to write contracts that you safeguard yourself from unnecessary expenses. Like when there's a hurricane coming, we put people on standby, and you could say, "But I ain't gonna pay you now. You gotta pay me, otherwise I ain't going standby."
Right.
And then they explained us how they did it in Holland with when the winter comes and the salt, throwing the salt on the street. Sometimes you don't have to throw it, but you gotta pay the people for being on standby. You gotta buy the salt. You can't ask for salt when it comes.
Exactly.
So they thought we use those type of contracts to put them in place here for us with machinery, manpower, etc., etc. But after I left, I don't know. I don't know what happened. But what I do know is there are no pumps.
Right.
And I think that's a very, very serious.
issue.
Yes. We had this problem back in 1999 with Hurricane Lenny. And thank God those days to Tochi. Frankie was a minister, a commissioner, I think.
Yeah.
And they jump on the machines and we bust open the dike by Rolandes Canal so that the water that was about a meter high within the basin ran through the canal into the sea. You know, because the sea was high, but we were able to get water out that way. So, you know, you learn a lot of things as you go along, experience, and that's why I say I run on knowledge, ability, and experience.
But now years later,
we're in a predicament. Not only higher, it's warmer, so you know storms are going to be stronger.
That's right.
And we have to mentally also prepare our people for what to expect. Remember, when storms come, if everything is on the ground, you can hold your electricity longer on. If you're using coolant, radiators, and so because salt water dying work because everything is done up with sand and seaweed, so they run off of coolers, and you can maybe stay a few hours longer.
Right.
But sometimes during the peak of the storm, everything will shut down for safety purposes. You know, things can fall and you can get shorts and all those type of things. So you don't want the water to rise and hit the transformer houses and blow it like what happened in New York with Sandy. You know, so those are the type of things that you always have to protect your infrastructure against. And actually your own people, because some people believe, let me start with a generator with the hurricane, and then something blows outside, your light outside busts, and you get a shot. If you do that, make sure all your lights outside are turned off. So if anything busts outside, it ain't gonna affect your fuse box. You know, there are things that you can pay attention to.
Those are good little tips. You know, those are things that people need to hear as well. Because those are things people don't just run outside and try and fix it.
Yeah, you know, I always tell them during the hurricane, stay inside. You have nothing to look for outside. You can't save what's out there anymore. It's going to blow away.
Just material stuff.
You know, I see people just try to run, go put blocks on zinc. That zinc will
Cut
decapitate you or hurt you and kill you, you know, or cripple you. You know, listen, leave that sheet of zinc fly away.
Yeah.
You can't save it no more, you know. No, during a hurricane, you got to be careful. You got to really be careful.
Okay, so you've already said that, you know, the party has will be suspending their certain of their activities for the next maybe 48 hours or so.
I think we might be a little longer canvassing, you know, just out of
maybe.
respect a little bit too.
Right, but you will be getting out there. You're still being getting out there, especially now going into August.
Yeah.
Touching the flesh, touching the people.
No.
Make sure going on because a lot of people, I don't know if you know, a lot of people start to say, you know, but you're not seeing enough of the now party out there.
It is something that we have heard, but what we are doing, Mike, and you see, sometimes you're looking for a caravan of yellow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, no, sometimes you're going to see dots are yellow because we go into the house, we talk
Right.
to the people. So we're not necessarily filling the street with bodies, but you'll see bunks pull up by a house, talk to a family here, go down the road, talk to another family, you know. Because some families call you and say, listen, I'd like to see you. I have my wife, my children here, we would like to talk to you, you know, we want
Right.
to support you. So you go and you anchor those votes down.
Right.
It is a different style of campaign, but it is still a style. We have changed. What we used to do 30 years ago
It don't work.
doesn't work today anymore.
Doesn't work.
Social media has taken over.
Yeah.
You know, young people, their attention span is much shorter too.
Yeah.
So they don't want to.
Plus back then, there used to be an outing.
Yeah. It used, you know,
That used to be an
the
outing.
the house used to be it was like caroling for Christmas, you know. You're going down the road. Yeah, but that has changed a little bit,
Things have
and
changed.
you know, as difficult as it is to say, the safety aspect is
Yeah.
going to play a role now.
That's another thing.
For a lot of people. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't feel that comfortable right now, and understandable.
That's
So
a
you
good
know,
reaction.
but you know, we still have Facebook. We still have the telephone. You can call the people, get their numbers. A lot of people call me right now. You know, I am not a great expert on social media. I don't. My daughter and my son, I thank them every day for teaching me a trick or
Right.
two. With Facebook, Instagram, and all those things. But a lot of people DM me, direct
Yeah.
message me, give me their number, ask me to give them a call. And you see the conversations we have, Mike, those are the type of conversations I have so that they understand what I stand for.
Right.
What I say, I truly mean, and I mean what I say.
Right.
I stand for what I say.
Right.
My word is my bond. And some people say, yeah, but I don't agree with you. Listen,
okay.
you have a right
Yeah.
to your opinion, and I respect your opinion. We're just going to have to disagree on
That's it.
opinions.
That's it.
No more, no less.
Now, what do you say, you know, before we wrap up here, Tone? What would you tell, you know, after the incidents of yesterday evening or early yesterday evening, to folks who might feel even more despondent now about actual voting? What do you say to them about, you know, the importance still of voting?
You know, Mike,
the power of that vote.
you cannot live in fear.
Right.
We are a democracy. We must be able to feel free and live without fear. And like I said, I don't want to give an opinion on what happened.
No.
I want to honestly hope that the authorities will deal with this matter swiftly and that we get, you know, what happened and the public understands what happens. Then we can continue moving forward because life continues. No matter the tragedies that have happened yesterday, we continue in life. We continue living. The world keeps turning. It stops for no one. And as harsh as that sounds, for the people them, they will say, am I going to be safe when I go to vote? Sure you are.
Of course.
There will be police presence. If you feel that you don't want to wear a political color anymore because you feel targeted, then don't
We
wear
saw
it.
the last election anyway.
Yes, a lot of people did not wear
Yeah.
their colors because they were afraid that certain people would see them and then there would be repercussions on the jobs,
Correct.
etc., etc.
Right.
Look, again, if we cannot speak freely in our country, if we cannot act freely in our country, then we don't have a democracy in our country. And I stand by it that we have a democracy. What happened is very, very sad and unfortunate, but it will not forge the way forward in St. Martin. St. Martin must remain what it truly is, a friendly island with love, caring people in it. And one incident may not mar the way we go forward. To the people them that feel uncomfortable, as time passes, feelings can change. But you need to come out and vote. Everybody's vote is a valuable vote for whichever person you vote for. I hope you believe that I am your person and you vote for me. But whomever you vote for, that is your God-given right, a right that many people died for, ensuring we have it today. So don't waste it by staying home and say, I don't care. Yes, you do care, because the next time you're complaining and you didn't vote, then you should ask yourself, but why am I really complaining? I shouldn't care.
Yeah.
Because that's what you said then. You see, don't take no money. Go out there, seek a candidate that you believe is the candidate that can make a difference. Claudius Anthony Boncampo, your number 2 candidate, and now can offer that to you. I have the knowledge, I have the ability, I have the experience, I understand commitment, I understand hard work. I have done it all my life. All my life, I have served this country. 35 years in a civic organization. I have shown that I get up, I go and serve people, and I ask for nothing in return. Just a smile on your face, knowing I made a difference in your life. And that's the honor that a parliamentarian or a minister should take when they take office in this country. It's an honor to serve. We are paid to serve. You don't need to serve me. All I ask from you is respect. I will respect you and you respect me. More than that you differ in opinion with me, that is part of life. That we don't like each other, that even is part of life, because not everybody loves each other. But you know what? Violence is never the way to solve any problem, no matter the problem. We are not at war with each other. We are not at war with no countries, because even war, innocent people die. And nobody should be a casualty of war. Nobody at no time. So I beg of all, let us keep calm. Let us let the authorities do their job. Let us continue to love each other as brothers and sisters. Remember your 10 commandments. When you lay down and close your eyes tonight, you ask God to please bless this country and its people. Because I know many of us are lost in thoughts right now with what happened. I want to thank you all for allowing me into your home today and talking to you, be it on Facebook, be it on radio, be it on whichever other media that these things will be passed on. It is a difficult day. I'm happy that some of the political parties canceled the public rallies. Like I said, the Now Party will not be canvassing until further notice. We will put out the notice when we are going back onto the streets. That will be evaluated by leadership and the board. And naturally, part of the safety is going to be an aspect that will be looked at moving forward.
Folks, we've been joined, happily joined, my privilege to have the deputy leader and number 2 candidate of the Nation Opportunity Wealth Party, the Now Party, the Yellow Party, the number 6 party on the election ballot. Here with us today, Toncho Boncampo, Claudius Toncho, Claudius Bunks, whatever, Little Toncho, whatever you want to call him, Boncampo, here with us today. He will be back a few more times.
Yes.
So it's not the last time. Bunks, thanks so much very much for being here. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you back again on 88.3 FM. Folks, keep it locked. The King James Show is coming up next, and thank you guys so very much for listening.
Bunks is out.